Guilty Gear Strive just released the third character of Season 4, Unika, who made her debut in the anime Guilty Gear Duel Rulers. I haven't gone around to watching all of it yet, but when I do, expect a video on that, whenever that is. Being completely honest for a second, I wasn't all that crazy about Unika at first. I thought she looked painfully generic, and her design just seemed a little plain for a Guilty Gear character, especially considering who else we got in Strive. Hell, Giovanna looks infinitely more interesting, and she arguably has one of the simplest designs in the entire series. But as time passed, I grew on the design more and more, but I'm still not crazy about it. Thankfully, she's not wearing those fuck-ass goggles, and instead wearing this cool shark helmet. The goggles looked stupid as shit, and it looked like she was plucked straight out of Digimon. Unika as a character in Strive, though, is very odd, being somewhat of an all-rounder, but with a twist, because this is Guilty Gear. Of course there's a twist. The short of it is that while she is a fun but very strange character, I can't exactly tell who this character is made for, and she's far from a character I could see myself devoting hours into learning. But the long of it is the rest of the video. I'll be going over her moveset and little observations I've made during my time with Unika. Don't come into this video expecting some kind of guide or in-depth analysis on how viable Unika's toolkit is in the current meta, as I'm more interested in expressing my feelings on how she plays rather than making judgments on the character that just came out, though I will comment on a few things I perceive as good and bad. Let's start off with some general things. Unika's main quirk is Mode Arbalest, which is a misleading name because this isn't a mode. It's more akin to a state that some moves put Unika in for a couple of frames to give her access to simplified inputs for special moves that have increased damage. This can be accessed through //, 2H, 2H, and 6H. Unika's lack of a proper 6H is actually disgusting. I do not like it at all. I don't really like my beefy ass 6Hs, so Unika just not having one is cringe as shit. Her lack of a 6H genuinely hurts her quite a bit, and using 5D or JD just isn't worth it if you want to go for an overhead, especially considering JD is, to be blunt, really shit. This does lead into the main issue I have with Unika actually. She feels clunky to play. I was expecting her slash attacks to be reminiscent of characters like Bridget or Nagoriyuki, but I just didn't get that at all. She feels chunky yet stubby, and a lot of the time when I do things that I do on any other character, it just doesn't feel right when I do it with Unika. I know that she's meant to be this way, and Happy Chaos also doesn't have a conventional heavy slash button, but that's not exactly my problem. My problem is in the execution. It feels nice using the Arbalest versions of her moves, and it's really fun incorporating them into combos, but sometimes I wonder what the point of using the motion versions of these moves even is if the Arbalest versions are so easy to use and inherently better. That said, her combo routes are insanely fun, and it's really cool seeing all of her tools work together to make some really neat shit happen. Though, due to me finding her to be a clunky character, her combo routes do suffer from this, notably with the fact that her DP isn't Roman cancelable. I get that most other DPs in the game aren't Roman cancelable either, but she doesn't leave the ground, and it reminds me of something like Abba's Danzai, which can be Roman cancelled, and that's a DP, and that's insanely busted. A few of her moves are very reminiscent of things Kai and Sin can already do, and the gun stuff kind of reminds me of Elfelt a little bit. Overall, her toolkit is fine, and she does have some really satisfying moves. It's just unfortunately coupled together in this really janky feeling character that just doesn't feel right to play, and there's just a lot of things that could have been done better. Onto her specials, AMTG Streak is her projectile, and it's goofy. It shoots a full screen laser, and that's about it. It's one of the most boring moves to deal with in Fireball Wars, but the Arbalest version makes it slightly more interesting. It destroys just about every non-overdrive projectile in this state, so that's nifty I guess. AATG Blitz is the aerial version of the projectile, and it's the better JD. Using JD only benefits this move, so getting to release a shitty projectile and then a better one immediately after is really funny, but also makes me question the point of JD. I mentioned that she has moves like Kai and Sid, so let me justify that claim by showcasing them. ATTG Penetrate is like if Stun Dipper overdosed and died at age 27. This move is mainly used for knockdowns, but Unika doesn't really have a strong enough Oki game to justify it, so I question the purpose of this move. The Arbalest version of this move is fucking nuts though, and it's honestly my second favorite move in Unika's whole kit. This shit is such a beefy and powerful move, provided in hard knockdowns rather than the regular knockdown of the normal version, but unfortunately, it's slower than most moves of its kind, and it requires some optimization in order to use it competently. Same can't be said for ATDG top attack. Curly thinks she's in Garo. This is her brain dead move. It functions like Reed Sever from previous games, but worse, so it's more akin to Fudra Arc. The only fun I ever have with this move is the Arbalest version, since it actually ground bounces like Reed Sever did, and gives Unika something of substance to do. It's a beefy move and it does become plus on block if you use the Arbalest version, but it's kinda lame overall, and I don't know why you'd ever use it outside of some very niche circumstances where you just need to swat a fly. ACTG Blastoff is by far her best move and the most fun to use. This is the aforementioned DP that you can't Roman cancel, and is her sole meterless reversal option, and it's insane. The range on this move is nuts, and it beats a lot of moves in certain interactions. The normal and Arbalest versions are both equally enjoyable, and despite it being more of a combo ender than an extender outside of some pretty niche uses, this opens a whole new can of worms for Unika, and is the defining reason I think her combo game is so fun and one of the saving graces she has for being a stale, boring character. There is so much utility for this move, and it's a jack of all trades option, and honestly why I'd consider her best move. Blazer Trail is also really good. I love Michael's sword already, so I'll take any move like it, even if it's just a worse version of Dizzy's, and doesn't have an Arbalest version. That said, the range is good enough, and it does what I need it to do, so I'm fine with its existence. Moving on to her Overdrives, Mega Death Buster is super satisfying to land. I didn't even realize this until I was recording footage for this section, but there's an Arbalest version of this move that looks just so sick. I wish I noticed this sooner so I could grab some sick footage of it, but alas, I'm not that smart, so I'll just have to rely on some kinda lame footage. If you clean hit the move, you enter a cinematic version of the move, blasting your opponent away, not too dissimilar to other Overdrives with a clean hit function. And if you land the Arbalest version, the cinematic's even cooler. The real star of the show is Weapons Free, the Overdrive that I genuinely thought was a spoiler, but isn't really. See, that motorcycle gun sword thing has something powering it. The fucking Thunder Seal, because of course it does. Yeah, this is kind of the elephant in the room. Unika is supposed to be a future counterpart to the Kisk family and also Sin's sister, which honest to god I saw coming from a mile away back when she was first announced with the anime, but considering this isn't explained in the slightest, not even in the arcade mode as far as I'm aware, this just seems like an ass pull to make her seem more important. Like, it's a cool super at the end of the day, don't get me wrong, but the lorehead in me just can't help but feel like that this is a desperate attempt to make her super cool and relevant to the plot. I'll stop before I crash out further, so I'll explain the rest of the move. Unika turns into some weird Kai Dizzy fusion and flies up into the air, entering this unique state where any attack button minus dust acts as a different move, with dust being a flashy dash that brings her closer to her opponent, before ending in an attack named Star Deviation. This Overdrive is incredibly fun to use, and I appreciate how you're given so much freedom to experiment with different combinations. I like using this heavy slash version of Star Deviation. That shit goes so hard. It's essentially a second part to the super that costs more meter, and it's so good. I love it. Such a hype move. This is one of the most experimental supers I've seen, and I really fuck with it, even if the lore implications make me groan. Lastly, there's a couple of other things I want to mention that came out alongside Unika. The two stages that came with her are so fucking pretty. Honestly, some of the prettiest in the entire game, as a matter of fact, and will be stages I fight on constantly. I love these stages. Out of the two, I prefer this more green fieldy stage. I can't be arsed to remember the name. Carpet Diem is also one of the best themes in the entire game. They referenced the new Psychedelic Porn Crumpets album. How lovely. Though I gotta say, I can't be the only one who thinks the synth at the beginning sounds like Schism by Tool. My final thoughts on Unika are conflicting to say the least. Despite my problems with her as a character, I think she does have a right to be in this game, and she definitely is unique enough and fun to play. It's just that she feels super clunky and a lot of her game plan feels unfocused, with a lot of tools not really making a whole lot of sense or going well together. Maybe I'll figure her out more as the meta around her develops and time progresses, but as it is, she's not really a character I'm interested in playing super deeply or learning hardcore. And I gotta say, she's probably the weakest DLC characters in years. I know I said I don't really know who this character is made for, and I stand by that, but that's not really me saying I can't see the appeal in her. She definitely has one, and if you're into her playstyle, then that's fantastic, and I'm happy for you. This just isn't what I look for in a fighting game character, let alone a Guilty Gear character. But that's it from me. What do you think of Unika? Do you love her? Do you hate her? Or are you also ambivalent towards her? Let me know in the comments below, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like and subscribe, and do all the other things YouTubers force you to do.